Okay, alright guys, so I'm going to use MySQL Workbench. You can use this to create entity relationship diagram. I don't know what this EER stands for. Okay, so you create a new EER model, and you can also save this in the SVN folder so that everyone can have access to the ERD, and whenever it changes, you just recommit the file to the SVN. Okay, alright, so create new EER model. Okay, so I'm going to create a new one, and this is how it looks. Yeah, double click on add diagram. Okay, all right, so we're gonna create some new tables. So okay, it's been a while since I created this. How do I create a new table? Okay, so it seems like there are some buttons here that I can use. Let's say this one. If you place your mouse over, it will tell you what it's supposed to do. Selects an area for text object. This one selects an area for the new layer. Okay, so that's where you can create a new table. Alright, so let's let's do the tables that we talked about in the MySQL example. I can't remember exactly all, and I don't know if we named it right, but let's have the users table, and then let's have the sites table. What the? Okay, oh, okay, so that one, okay, hold on. Double click, edit table. That's going to be, let's make that users. Okay, that one, double click, edit table. Okay, that one, I'm going to call it sites. And then let's create another table called leads. And I'm using the one in Mac, so yours may be a little bit different. Okay, alright, so now in the users table, sites, leads, okay, let's do edit table. Okay, so let's look at the users table. We want a ID, right? And this is going to be the primary key. It's going to be auto incremented, and it's not going to be null. Okay, alright, so that's good. And then I want to have, let's say, the first name. That one, varchar 145, yeah, that's fine. Last name, yeah, 45 characters should be plenty. Email address, who knows, maybe that's a little bit longer, so we'll do 100. And let's say description, I can probably do varchar too, or maybe I'll do like some type of text. So tiny text could do. You can also look up just type in like how big tiny text is, and that could help. And then let's say email first name, okay, and then we want to do created at. This is going to be date time. Updated at date time. Everything that's related to time, just do date time. Don't use timestamp. Timestamp is an integer. Date time is actually mean you can read it and understand. Okay, so that's what it is. Users table is done. I don't think any of this needs to be indexed. If you did need to index email, what do? You just go here and say, hey, I'm going to index the email field because I'm going to be searching a lot of emails. And then that's what you do. And I think that worked. Yeah, email is indexed. And now, yeah, email is indexed. Okay, you can also rearrange some of the stuff if I need the first name to go here. Okay, so always rearrange it. I do like created at, updated at to show up at the end. Oh, it also shows the indexes. Primary key, which is that ID, and then the email. Okay, pretty cool, huh? Alright, so now let's do sites. So sites, okay, edit table. Okay, sites, I'm going to have the ID too. It's going to be a primary key that's auto-incremented. And then I'm going to have the domain. Okay, and let's say this is the varchar 255, just in case. And then, oh, I need to have like an ID of who has it, right? So there's a relationship between the user and the site. User can have many sites, right? And let's also create updated at date time. and then created at date time. Okay, and in this one I did created at before updated at, so let's follow the same order. Okay, alright, I'm not going to define how the user and the sites are related right now. Okay, so now the leads table, I go and I say, okay, again ID needs to be the primary key that's auto incremented, and then I gotta have the leads name, the first name and the username, right? First name, yeah, sure. Last name, barcard45, and then created at date time, updated at date time. Now, one site can have many leads, right? So one user can have many sites, one site can have many leads. So this is how you do it. You can see this one-to-many relationship right there. Okay, what's the place a new non-identifying? Identifying. Okay, so let's do press 4. So user can have many sites. Okay, I don't know if that worked. Let's site ID. Okay, I did it the opposite way. I always get this confused. Okay, so let's do it again. 4. So I don't know why you do it backward. Okay, but this is what you do. And see how it said one user can have many, see the branches, many sites, except it named it wrong for me. I want this to be, instead of user's ID, I want this to be user ID, right? Like that. Okay. You know what? Let me delete this and see how it. Okay, and I can say delete relationship, delete. What is this one? Oh, okay. Use this. Use this. Don't use 4. Use 2. Okay. So same thing. I do user underscore ID, and this will create a foreign key. Foreign key may be a little new concept, but okay. If I go to foreign key, see the foreign key. What it does is sometimes in database, if you don't use foreign key, if you just use a normal key and you tie the relationship, let's say like I accidentally deleted some of the user rows, then it would still leave all the information that belong to that user in the sites and the leads, right? But the foreign key basically means that make sure that whatever, if I try to delete, for example, a user ID 3, and there are several sites for user ID 3, then I can say, hey, like don't allow people to delete it unless they also clean up the information in the sites table that belongs to that user and information in the leads table that contain that relate to that users as well. You can also do some cool things like, for example, on the site. Yeah, this is a little bit advanced topic. Don't worry about this, okay? Or just Google it. You can do things that when the foreign key is updated over here or whatever, or when it's deleted, you also have it cascade, which means also delete that row in the site. So if I said, like, so if I say cascade here, what happens is, let's say user ID 3 gets deleted. Then in the size table, any user ID that equals 3 is also deleted as well. So you just cleans things up. But normally I want that to be set to no action. Okay, all right. So one user belongs to many sites, right? I created a relationship there. And then also, right, one site can have many leads, right? And then I also need to change this to site underscore ID. I like to put some of these keys up on the top just because it makes a lot more sense than having these show all the way at the bottom. So that makes sense, right? The size table now has a user ID that points to the users, and one user can have many sites. And then I also have a site ID in the leads that because these leads were generated at certain sites and the sites belong to the user. Okay, all right, so that's how you do database diagrams. You also ship some of these things to make it like easier to read, like that. You can also change the color. You can also play around with different layout if you wanna, say, hey, this is where I want to talk about like this is like related to the registration process or whatever. Then you can create different layers just to organize information. Okay, so use MySQL Workbench. You should do an entity relationship diagram before you code. Okay, and you got to make sure that entity relationship diagram is designed appropriately before you do any coding. All right, and below we'll show you some examples.